Justin Masterson grit his teeth and pitched 7 2/3 innings last night, and the offense rallied late to kickstart the month of May.
11th pitch of the inning.
It's lined toward right field. Base hit. Indians win it. Valbuena scores as Dribble Cabrera with a game winner. Today, the Indians look to make it 2 out of 3 against the first-place Twins, and all the hard-hitting action is next on Channel 3.
From Progressive Field here in downtown Cleveland, where it was raining earlier, but it looks like we're going to have a beautiful day for baseball as the Indians wrap up this 3-game series against the Minnesota Twins. Hi again, everyone. Matt Underwood alongside Rick Manning. Thrilling win for the Tribe last night, and you've been saying it all season long. For the Indians offense to go, they need those veteran hitters to pick up the pace, most notably guys like Grady Sizemore and Johnny Peralta, and they've done just that lately.
Well, for Grady and Johnny, they're starting to use the opposite field. They're staying on the baseball a little bit more. And for Johnny Peralta, hey, the month of April is over. For some strange reason, he gets off to a slow start. Those are the two veterans that are going to have to produce for the Indians offense to go. They have been doing that in the last couple of games, and that's a good sight.
On the hill for the Tribe today, left-hander David Huff, left-hander Francisco Liriano going for Minnesota, and Liriano showing signs of his first year in the big leagues back in 2006 when he set the Twins' rookie strikeout record with 144 Ks and won 12 games that year.
Well, he's reestablishing his fastball. It's a lot like Fausto Carmona. He was off to a terrible year last year, but the breaking ball in his last start against the Indians was very good. He gave up 3 runs in his first start. He has 23 consecutive scoreless innings, so he is going to be tough to handle today. David Huff on the other side, he did not have his control against the Twins in his last start, so these left-handers have been very successful against left-handers. We'll see how they do today.
And the Indians will try to win the series by taking 2 out of 3 from Minnesota. We'll have all the action coming up next right here on Channel 3. Huff takes the hill for the Tribe, trying to pitch them to a series win against their Central Division rivals, the front-running Minnesota Twins, who come in 15-9, a half game in front of Detroit, 4.5 games in front of third-place Cleveland. Let's take a look at Ron Gardenhire's starting 9 for the Twins. Denard Span will lead it off, followed by Orlando Hudson, and Michael Kadire hits third. Justin Morneau, Jim Thome, and Delman Young in the middle. Then J.J. Hardy, Wilson Ramos, who just gets the call up today from AAA Rochester, at Neshek, placed on the disabled list with inflammation in his middle pitching finger, and Nick Punto will bat ninth.
Today's starting pitcher brought to you by the Indians Team Shops, where you get 2 tickets if you spend $50. It's David Huff this afternoon. David making his 5th start of the year. He is 1-3, a .410 earned run average. Huff in his last start against the Minnesota Twins allowed 4 runs on 3 hits in 6 innings, but he had a little control problem walking 6 batters in that ball game. So he's going to try and settle down and throw more strikes. We'll take a look at the Home Depot doing more on defense. Indians defensive lineup. In the outfield, left to right, Kern, Sizemore, and Chu. On the infield, third to first, it's Peralta, Cabrera, Gruzelanek, and Marte getting the start this afternoon. Behind the plate, Lou Marson again. Some more savings, more doing. That's the power of Home Depot.
The umpiring crew today, Laz Diaz will call the balls and strikes. The crew chief, John Hirschbeck, down at first. James Hoy at second. Wally Bell over at third. Denard Span climbs in, ready to get us underway here this afternoon. Denard Span 3 for 9 in the series with a home run. And David Huff's first pitch today is in there for a called strike. Denard Span, Michael Kadire, and Justin Morneau have done the bulk of the damage for Minnesota in this series. Those 3 hitters combined have hit .393. Everybody else is combined to hit $170.
Well, they've done a good job of getting their leadoff man aboard in this series. They've also done a good job in the first 3 innings.
Diving attempt by Gruzelanek, but he can't come up with it, and Span aboard to start the game with an infield hit.
Well, Gruzelanek going to his left. When you watch him dive, he dives a little too far because it hits his wrist. Gets it over the glove, just on the thumb right there. That's a tough play. In between, if he comes up with it, he's going to have to hurry to get Span anyway. It'll go as a single for Denard Span, so a leadoff man aboard.
Span with 6 stolen bases will be held at first by Andy Marte. And Orlando Hudson, 4 for 9 in the series, steps in.
You know, the thing that doesn't match up well with the Twins and David Huff right now over his the first 2 innings of his starts.
Deep down the right side, slicing foul.
His ERA is 6.75, so, you know, he gives up runs in the first 2 innings, but the Twins have scored a lot of runs in the first 3 innings in the first 2 series against these 2 teams, so it'd be very important for him to get through the first couple innings scoreless.
Twins have outscored the Indians 16-4 so far this year in innings 1, 2, and 3. Huff with a long pause. Now he deals, and Hudson with a high fly ball deep to left. Kern's back, looking up, and it's gone. Orlando Hudson with his 2nd home run of the year. And once again, the Twins jump on top with 2 first-inning runs. Minnesota has scored 2 in the first in all 3 games of this series.
Well, that's unbelievable, isn't it? They just continue to do the damage early. Let's look at the location here. David Huff was upstairs with his spot again. He cannot live at that part of the zone, belt high. He does not have enough on his fastball. And a hitter like Hudson, who's not a power hitter at all, hits his 2nd home run, found the seats in left field. He's going to have to get that ball down around the knees.
There's Michael Kadire. 5 out of 9 in the series. Pops it back out of play.
5th dinger given up by Huff.
The 0-1 caught the outside corner at the knees. And the count 0-2. That's out of play. Count stays 0-2. Check swing. Did he go? They'll appeal. John Hirschbeck says he held up. Off the end of the bat, popped it up. Andy Marte straddling the line, makes the grab, and that's out number 1. Today's injury report brought to you by the attorneys at Friedman, Damiano & Smith. When you're injured, depend on them. Find Friedman, Damiano & Smith online at fdslaw.com. Minnesota Twins, that list is getting a little backed up. Joe Mauer is day-to-day with the heel. Pat Neshek placed on the DL today to make room for the new catcher Wilson Ramos. Justin Morneau takes a strike. Ron Gardenhire didn't want to take any chances, only with one catcher, with Mauer listed as day-to-day with that heel injury. So they call up Ramos, and Morneau sends a long drive deep left center. That's off the wall. And he's into second base with a one-out double, and the Twins teeing off here in the first.
Well, he came in before he hit that home run in the first inning in the middle game of this series. He had been 0 for his last 18 in this ballpark. There's the location on the breaking ball. He left it up enough for Morneau to take it the other way and hit it off the wall. So it'll be double number 6 for Morneau and 3 hits out of the first 4 hitters for Minnesota.
Jim Thome 1 out of 4 last night. Looks at a ball inside. Tribe shifts 3 on the right side for Thome. Johnny Peralta stays on the left side near the bag at third. So gaping hole on the left side.
Well, you better be ready to execute your pitches when you're facing Minnesota lineup. You can't afford to make mistakes, especially when you're pitching against a guy who hasn't given up a run in 23 innings. You do not want that team to get the early lead.
Well, that's what's happened here before the Indians have had an at-bat. And still only 1 out in this first inning. Lou Marson out to talk with Huff. Jim Thome. See what he's done with runners in scoring position already this year. Out of plate on the left side. Jim Thome with 568 career home runs. 10% of his total homers have come at the expense of the team he now plays for. And the 1-2. It's got him. 2 down here in the first. Huff gets his first strikeout, and it brings up Delmon Young.
Going inside. There it is. Elevated that fastball right there on Thome. Gets the strikeout. That's what happens. You keep it on the corner. You can get a swing and a miss.
And Delmon Young with a runner at second and 2 down. Liner to right field, a base hit. Coming around third. Morneau doesn't run well. They'll wave him home. Here's the throw to the plate, and he is out from me to you. Great throw by Chu. And Morneau really never had a chance. But the Twins grab an early 2-run lead on a 2-run homer by Orlando Hudson. It's no worse than that thanks to a great throw by Shin-Soo Choo.
No running on Chu.
And the active starting 9 presented by Progressive Insurance. Progressive, proud to be the official auto insurance provider of the Cleveland Indians. As Dribble Cabrera, Grady Sizemore, Shin Soo Choo. And it's Austin Kearns and the red-hot Johnny Peralta, followed by Mark Grudzelanek, Andy Marte, Matt Laporta DHing today. And batting 8th, and Lou Marson will hit 9th. Francisco Liriano, 23 consecutive scoreless innings coming into this game here today. The Twins left-hander back in 06, his rookie campaign struck out 144, breaking Bert Blyleven's rookie franchise record for Minnesota. And remember, he started that season in the bullpen before he moved into the starting rotation. Off the leg of Liriano, Cabrera hustling down the line, the throw's in the dirt, he beats it out and he's going for more. He might go all the way to third. By the time Kadire gets it, as Dribble slides safely into third base. Liriano, the ball hit him in the leg, and then he spiked the throw to first base.
Well, he compounds it. You know, he probably should have ate the ball, but he wanted to try and get that first out. And it wasn't a very good throw because he was rushing it, and you throw the ball wildly, and you give him an extra 2 bases. You give up your base hit. Takes him a while to find it. There he goes. Now he's rushing. He knows it's going to be close and spikes it, as you said, right into the ground. Now, that was a mistake. Give him the infield single. Well, now you give him 2 extra bases, so a good chance for the Indians to come up. That's just the 5th error by the Minnesota Twins this year.
And I believe it's the first by a pitcher.
Yes, it is. It's the first one by a pitcher. That's the mistake that they made right there. So they have been fielding the ball very cleanly, so take advantage of it.
Grady Sizemore, ground ball to second. This will get a run home. Hudson throws out Sizemore. Indians are on the board. That snaps the 23-inning scoreless streak of Liriano. And Minnesota's lead cut in half. It's 2-1.
Didn't take long, did it?
Grady's 11th run batted in on the year. You know, the other thing, too, Rick, looking at the replay, the Twins are lucky that Justin Morneau didn't get his arm taken off because the ball and Cabrera arriving at the same time, and he had to reach back into the runner to try and grab it. And that can sometimes lead to disaster for first baseman.
Yeah, if you're leaning down that line, you're exactly right. You got to reach back when the guy is really bearing down on first base.
Shin Soo Choo looks at a ball outside. It's another look at that place, just to give you an idea how close this.
Well, he realized he couldn't get it, but you're right. You see, his arm just goes right with the runner. You know, where it's not, he just went right with it. Where you turn in, if the ball's coming at you and you turn as a hitter, he did that with his arm, so that was a wise move. Instead of trying to scoop it and go
into the
other way, exactly.
2-1 to Choo, good pitch. 95-mile-an-hour heat right in on his thumbs, and it's 2-2.
Well, Liriano has been unbelievable this year. He has turned it around. I mean, when you look at the numbers of him last year, him and Carmona are very, very similar. And Carmona took his first loss the other night. But Liriano, the first run he's given up in 23 consecutive innings.
Up the middle, Choo's got a base hit. So 2 hits in the first for the Indians. And still only 1 man out.
Let's take a look at Francisco Liriano's numbers this year. Undefeated, leading the league in ERA. He doesn't give up many hits. He's walked 10 and struck out 27. Total opposite. He walked about 70 guys last year. And now that streak, he's only allowed the 18 batters to reach in that 23-inning streak. Pitched to Jim against Cleveland on the 21st, 8 innings, 6 hits. And did not allow a run.
Austin Kearns fouls it back over the screen.
You know, the thing about Liriano, everybody, remember the year he had in 06.
Yep.
And he had a vicious slider. And they think, well, he's throwing his slider. He's actually throwing his fastball, commanding his fastball better, which is setting up his slider. So he's using his fastball more and maybe using that slider to get strikeouts. But the fastball command is back. And strike throwing is back.
Austin Kearns has hit in 5 straight games for the Indians, going 9 for his last 22 during this tear. There are those who thought Liriano threw too many sliders, and with that violent arm action might have caused the elbow injury initially that caused him to have Tommy John.
Well, he's a guy that recoils. Watch him. When he's done, he follows through. It's almost like he comes back. You know, he's a recoiler, and that can put a lot of pressure on the arm.
But he was tutored by Johan Santana when he was just a youngster.
They were like a mirror image of each other, weren't they? He has a very good changeup as well. I'm sure Santana helped him there.
Popped him up. Is it playable? Back to the screen. Ramos, he won't have a play.
Take a look at the recoil after he lets the baseball go. It comes back, you see? That's a lot of strain on the arm, you would think. It looks like, God, it hurts every time he throws. But it works for him.
He'll throw to first. Chu back to the bag. Yeah, unlike the young man in Texas who has the dynamite arm. The young guy who was the reliever last year that they're starting now.
Feliz?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That guy,
Neftali Feliz? He's an easy 100. Right.
Yeah, effortless.
Total opposite. You're exactly right.
Up high. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Yeah, he comes in and, you know, he looks like he's not even warmed up or he's not throwing it. It's 98 to 100. This guy is max effort every pitch.
Tying run at first here in the first. And Liriano's 2-2 pitch. Runner goes, and Kearns pops it out of play.
Had a pretty good jump right there. But with 2 strikes as a hitter, you got to protect.
Manny Acta looking at Austin Kearns, who's awaiting this 2-2 pitch, and it's wide for ball 3, full count. So now, a little strategy play here. You would expect Chu to be in motion on this 3-2 pitch. Kearns has put the ball in play for the most part this year. He's running. And it's ball 4.
Good eye. Good eye.
So 2 on with 1 out. And now Johnny Peralta will be the batter. And he's easily the Indians' hottest hitter right now.
Well, let's take a look at the Twins' defense behind Liriano this afternoon. Young, Span, and Kadire in the outfield. Punto, Hardy, Hudson, and Morneau on the infield with Ramos catching. Just getting called up. He'll get the start this afternoon. And as they just made their 5th error, and it was the pitcher Liriano, the first pitching error that the Twins have made this year. But here we go again, 2 outs.
Runner goes, Chu breaking for third. The throw is offline, and Chu's able to get in there safely. Punto thought that by lunging for the throw, he was still able to make the tag as he appealed to Wally Bell. But Chu is at third with only 1 out here in the first inning. And that's his 5th stolen base of the year.
He figures, man, you get that jump off the left-hander. Hudson was holding him not too close. He was back, but he's able to get in there. There's Wally Bell. The throw is to the inside part. He's lucky. No, he never even tagged him. He just caught the ball and had to hold it on the ground. So Chu sneaks in there, and you can tell he stole it on his own because back at first base, Kearns is standing there. So it's not something that was put on. He felt he could get a good jump.
Here's the 20th pitch of this first inning for Liriano, and it's up high, 2-0. Well, it's that same old story. When you've got a good pitcher on the ropes early, you better deliver when you've got the opportunity.
Take advantage of it.
Tribe has the tying run 90 feet away with 1 out here in the first. He threw it by him. Pretty good smoke, 2-1. 11 strikes, 10 balls here in the first for Liriano.
You know, last night we talked about when Justin Masterson was pitching, he's averaging 20 pitches per inning. This guy is just at 14. 13.9, so let's say 14.
He's over his average already. And Peralta. A slider there, and it's 2-2.
Well, Johnny, you got to find a way. Get it in play. Nasty right there, down and in. Good location. You have to work so much harder when that ball is down in the strike zone. When you make a mistake up, it's easier for the hitter to, do something with it, even if it's soft. When that ball, whether it's a fastball down, a good breaking ball down, that hitter has to work to get the ball in the air, and a lot of times he's not going to do it. You either get that ground ball or you swing and miss.
Now the 2-2. It's high, full count.
I don't think they're going to send Kearns here either, because you can't get a good jump off the left-hander. Johnny does strike out a lot, so you could get a strikeout throw-out.
Already his third full count. Third straight full count.
There you go.
Here
Tommy's on top of his game today.
Mishap?
We didn't have a mishap. We did last night, though, and I think he was pitching.
Never let him forget that one, will we?
Never, ever.
First and third, one out, first inning. Tribe down 2-1. Johnny Peralta. We got a balk right there. Liriano just balked in the tying run.
Well, I wasn't watching. I didn't see it. Did you see anything that he did?
It was hard to tell, Rick, if he was on the rubber. I think he was trying to get off the rubber, but it looked like his hands were already set. And out to talk to him to maybe settle him down is Wilson Ramos and pitching coach Rick Anderson coming out. Whatever it was, the second base umpire, John Hirschbeck, jumped right on it.
Let's see if he starts and stops or just any movement with that left. Yeah, there it was. Yep. He was just a little flinch. That's all it takes. But I'll tell you, that goes to show you the umpire's watching that pitcher at all times. It was just very nondiscreet. But a little flinch will tie this ball game up at 2. So they're trying to settle down Francisco Liriano.
Well, the Indians have come back to tie it.
We got to tell you that. It was the right call.
I beg your pardon. I think I said John Hirschbeck. That's James Hoy at second base. John Hirschbeck at first today. The venerable crew chief. Outside, ball 4. So the second consecutive walk for Liriano. 2 on, still only 1 out. And a tie game now here in the first inning. I'll bring up Mark Grudzielanek. Grudzielanek 1 for 5 last night. Double play ball to short. Hardy to Hudson to Morneau, and that'll do it. But the Indians rally back to tie it at 2 after 1.
Cash. By Continental Airlines. Work hard, fly right. And by your Northern Ohio Toyota dealers.
Second inning here at Progressive Field. All right, let's start all over now. Making an 8-inning game.
Okay, that's fine. But they come back and answer it off a pitcher that hadn't given up a run in 23 innings, so that's fine.
J.J. Hardy takes a strike. 1-1 to count.
Let's see, you're right. If the starting pitchers can settle down. David Huff struggled in that first inning where he gave up 4 hits. If it wasn't for Shin-Soo Choo throwing out the runner at home plate, no telling how many they would have scored. And he did it easily.
2-1 pitch. A little bit high. 3 balls and a strike. J.J. Hardy, 3 out of 9 in the series. Pops him up. Marte to the Twins dugout. 1 away.
Well, the reason why the first inning that David Huff struggled, let's look at some of the locations on the base hits that he allowed. You're going to see right there, middle, belt high up. There's another one. There's the home run. Morneau, breaking ball, out over the plate and up. So every hit has been upstairs. David has got to get that ball down. He knows it. Well, those hitters will let you know in a hurry.
Here's Wilson Ramos. This is his major league debut. And he takes a strike. In 16 games at AAA Rochester, Wilson Ramos hit just 179, but he did manage 3 homers and 8 runs batted in. And he's got a hit in his first major league at bat.
Well, that a boy. He doesn't waste any time. Congratulations to him. Get that baseball. There they know it. The umpire's already out getting it. They'll throw it into the dugout. A souvenir for life.
Laz Diaz waiting to.
Look at Laz putting it in his pocket. That a boy. There it goes into the locker. I'll tell you what, it's a big thrill. I mean, that's like a dream come true when you're a kid getting called to the big leagues, and you know you got to have some nerves going up there the first time up, and boy, he gets rid of them in a hurry with first swing base hit.
He was on his way here yesterday because the Twins knew that Joe Mauer's injury was going to be a day-to-day type situation, and Ron Gardenhire did not want to take the risk of having only one catcher then. So he now has Ramos along with Drew Butera, with Joe Mauer ailing at the moment. Mauer hoping that it'll be only a couple of days and he'll be able to get back into the lineup for Minnesota. Interesting, though, Rick, that injury he suffered lunging for the bag at first, a heel injury, bruised heel, 1-1 pitch. Mike Redmond was telling me before the game that he had a similar situation where he lunged for the bag a few years ago, hit it awkwardly, and you know it hurt, it kind of bothered him. He tried to play through it, and it led to plantar fasciitis, which is an excruciatingly painful injury, especially for a catcher. So again, I think that's why the Twins want to err on the side of caution here.
Especially with that guy, there's no question about it. Watch him as he's going down the line. Watch that last step, just that little extra to get out there, and when that front foot hits the bag, it puts pressure on your heel. But maybe he hit his heel first is what happened. So, and you're right, with that guy, you give him a couple extra days, or take a couple extra days now.
Punto jammed, muscles it in the left, coming hard. Kearns makes the grab. 2 down. Top of the order now, and Denard Span, who had an infield single his first time up.
These Twins, too, are looking, they're getting aggressive, and they're a pretty patient team when it comes to swinging the bats, but Huff early. Out of their 5 hits, they have 1 on the first pitch, 3 on the second pitch, and 1 on the third. So he's got to concentrate on keeping that ball down early.
Now, from what you've seen, is that scouting? Is that what was the game plan coming in, or is that just hitters reacting to what they're seeing?
Well, they faced him one time in Minnesota, so I think you could use a scouting report. He looks to get ahead first pitch fastball, so maybe he has to change his rhythm a little bit, maybe start him off with a changeup, maybe start out breaking ball but for strikes. You see there's a good breaking ball. There you go. He's looking fastball. Now you go to work. You know, sometimes when you see a patient team jumping on you early, they're looking for one pitch, and if they're getting it, they're getting after it. And normally it's going to be a fastball. If not, they're just going to take. If you're throwing your breaking ball for strikes, they're not going to swing to make outs early on that breaking ball.
Here's the 0-2. Fastball hit on the ground to short. Cabrera goes the short way, inning over. No runs ahead, a man left. We'll go to the bottom of the second, tied at 2. Bottom of the second inning as the Tribe comes to bat on this Kids Fun Day. Glad you're with us here on Channel 3 on this Sunday afternoon. Bottom third of the Indians order due up. Andy Marte, Matt Laporta, and Lou Marson. Anybody watching maybe south of Cleveland towards the middle part of the state today may be wondering how in the world are they playing baseball, because there were some serious storms rolling from south up north, and I think the forecasters thought it was going to come straight downtown Cleveland, and yet everything is pushed off to the east, so we're dry.
Let's just keep it that way.
A little bit cloudy, but otherwise it's very pleasant. About 73 degrees at game time. The 2-1 pitch. And now the count evens at 2-2. Matt Laporta waits on deck. And he's out looking. Marte thought it was high. Laz Diaz says, have a seat. That's the first strikeout for Francisco Liriano.
Well, let's look at some of the mistakes that Liriano made right here. The first one was throwing that ball to first base. He should have let it go for an infield single, a two-base error. Then he's going to balk. But interestingly enough, right there on that balk, you see Austin Kearns is the one that picked it up. He said he balked. Umpire bit, but he was right. I mean, he was the base runner, and that's what a balk is considered, deceiving the base runner, and that's exactly what he did. Kearns picked it up, told the umpires called it.
Matt Laporta with one out here in the second inning. He has hit in 2 straight games, going 3 for 8. Checks on a ball that's called a strike. And the 1-1 grounded to short. Hardy slips on the grass. Still has plenty of time to throw out Laporta. 2 down. Pay for your house or send your kids to college? That's what I'll be wondering in a few years. Families and students everywhere are struggling to save or pay for rising tuitions, but is it worth it? Eric Mansfield breaks down the cost of college all this week on Channel 3 News at 6. 2 down for Lou Marson. Looks at a ball outside. Marson was 2 for 4 in last night's game. Marson was involved in a tough collision at home plate. 10th inning last night, trying to score what would have been the winning run, but Denard Span made a great throw.
Yeah, well, Denard Span made a great throw, and Lou Marson made a base running mistake of trying to look back. Well, you look last night with Marson, watch him look back to center field. He slows down, and it's like by the time he's thrown out, he's thrown out by a half a step, and that's exactly what cost him right there. That half a step. But it was a great throw. Take nothing away from him. That was on a Sizemore base hit.
Those guys both got up and walked away as though it was no big deal, but that was a pretty tough collision. I'm sure they both felt it afterwards. 2 down, bases empty, and a 2-2 count. That'll make it 3-2 with Asdrubal Cabrera to follow if Marson gets aboard. Payoff pitch, line to right center. That's in the alley. That'll go to the fence. Lou Marson on his way to second with a 2-out double.
Boy, what a great stroke that was.
He's
starting to back, and really that ball, he hit that with a little authority.
7 hits in his last 12 at bats now.
Well, he put a very good swing.
Here's our great clip of the game from last night. Asdrubal Cabrera's game winner, brought to you by Great Clips. Relax, you're at Great Clips. Cabrera singled to start the game for the Indians when he lined one up the middle. It hit the foot of Liriano, and then he tried to pick it up and throw out Cabrera. Spiked it into the ground, and Asdrubal wound up at third base. And that led to a 2-run first inning for the Tribe. And so with that hit, Asdrubal, as you see, 5 out of 10 in the series. Go-ahead run in scoring position. With 2 down here in inning number 2. 41st pitch of the game for Liriano. And there's that nasty slider down in the dirt, 0-2.
There's Lou Marson, gets that ball. That was middle of the plate. It was down, but middle of the plate. And he just stays back and kept his head down nicely on it. Found the gap to right center field. Hit his 3rd double of the year.
Now the 0-2. Trying to come with the same pitch, but Cabrera wouldn't bite that time. Twins outfielders really bunching Cabrera toward the right center field gap. Trying to take away that opposite field stroke. And they got him. Second strikeout for Liriano. And the inning is over. Through 2, we're tied at 2. tied at 2. Orlando Hudson, Michael Kadire, and Justin Morneau. Hudson, a 2-run homer, his first time up, looks at ball 1 outside. And he's 5 out of 10 in the series. Hudson coming off his second All-Star game appearance last year. Won the Gold Glove in the National League as a second baseman. Pokes it toward right. Chu will make the grab, 1 away.
Well, the Tribe will start tomorrow night, a series with the Toronto Blue Jays here at the ballpark. Seats, great seats, still available at special Super Saver value prices. Tickets are up to 50% off, and all field box seats are just $25.
Michael Kadire popped up to first in his first at bat. Looks at a ball inside.
That'll be our first game against an Eastern Division club tomorrow against the Blue Jays.
There's a long fly to left, and Austin Kearns tracks it down 2 away. Yeah, that's a good point, Rick. We've already played 3 from the West. Everybody but Kansas City in the Central.
That's right. We're going to start getting into the East now. Because we make that next trip, we go to Kansas City, Baltimore, Tampa. So we'll finish off the Central and work our way into the East.
Justin Morneau cuts and misses. He doubled off the fence and left his first time up, and then was thrown out trying to score on a base hit to right by Delman Young.
Ouch.
That's a broken bat.
I want to send along some birthday wishes today. Carol Safier is 81. Carol, have a very happy birthday to you. She's at the ball game today. She will stop up and make a visit. And also Mary Himes of Lorraine turning 96 today. So Mary, happy birthday to you as well.
The 0-2, a little bit outside. Eastern Europe cities sprucing up for tourists.
What's he sitting down reading the newspaper, huh?
Back goes Austin Kearns looking up. It is off the fence, high up off that wall, and Justin Morneau has his second double of the day.
Guy's got some power the other way, doesn't he? Second consecutive double. Give him 7 on the year. He's having a nice series. Again, let's look at the pitch. He hung him a breaking ball the first time, and boy, that one's up too. That's a very easy pitch to go the other way with. He just stayed on it, and the strength of Morneau hits it off the wall. That's hit number 6, and they have half of them are extra base hits. His 2 doubles, the Hudson home run.
Jim Thome struck out his first time up, but here he is for the second straight inning. Or I should say second straight at bat with a chance to drive in a run. Lays off that pitch inside. In the dirt, 2 balls, no strikes. Three 3-0. Since leaving the Tribe, Jim Thome is a .247 career hitter against the Indians, but he's hit 15 homers.
Yeah, he's done some damage with the long ball. We watched him do it in Chicago.
3-0 pitch. He was swinging, and he bangs it foul.
Well, you know he's going to get the green light. They figure, okay, you want to throw that fastball, let the big man take a shot to hit one out. But now is when he gets really disciplined, where if it's not in his zone or something that he don't think he can handle, he won't swing, and he'll take it. He'll make you work.
That was an old Charlie Manuel theory that the best pitch you get as a hitter is a 3-0 meatball, ball 4. Whereas some guys just don't like to swing 3-0. Maybe they know themselves well enough they think they'll get too anxious and jump at it. But he always felt like if you get a 3-0 pitch right down the middle, go ahead and swing.
That wasn't even close, was it?
Nope.
Teams are going to learn that you don't run on Chu, one of the best arms in the game, bar none. And, it very well could be the best arm. I'm trying to think of somebody that throws better than that.
No, this guy from Minnesota's not bad either, Michael Kadire.
Yeah, but maybe Francoeur with the Mets. I'll tell you what, though, I'll take Chu's. But then we see Chu every day. We don't get to see Kadire every day.
David Huff wants to talk to Lou Marson as they try and attack Delmon Young with 2-on-2 out here in the third. 47 pitches so far for Huff. He had a rocky first inning when he allowed 4 hits, the last of which was the hit you just saw a moment ago off the bat at Delmon Young that ultimately ended the inning with the play at the plate. Francisco Liriano, his counterpart, also had a rocky first inning. Each pitcher allowing 2 runs. Nothing since then, but the Twins threatening with 2 out here in the third. Young shoots it back, 1-1 the count. That hit for Delmon Young in the first inning was just his second of the year against the Tribe. He's 2 for 14 this year against Indians pitching. 2 balls and a strike. Huff taking his time. This will be pitch number 50 on the day. The 2-1 is swung on and missed, and that'll even the count at 2-2. Delmon Young looking back to ask Blas Diaz, was that a strike?
Well,
I swung at?
You know what? He wanted to know if it was maybe a little too high.
So 2-on-2 out on the 2-2 pitch. Full count. Runners will be off on this payoff pitch to Delmon Young, who snapped an 0 for 9 slump with that first inning single. And the payoff. Oh, close pitch. Didn't get the call. You could tell he wanted it. And now they're loaded.
Now back-to-back walks, the first 2 walks of the afternoon, and out comes Tim Belcher.
Tell me, Rick, what was wrong with this?
I don't know. It looked like a changeup. 3-2.
It's right down the middle.
Yeah, well, you see how Marson catches that ball?
Yep.
He catches it down instead of turning his glove the other way and putting your palm up. That ball had some sink to it, but if he turns it the other way, it helps the umpire maybe get it up to the knees. As he framed it, his hand or his thumb was going to the back of the ground. Watch how his glove goes. It's down. It should be turned the other way. Turn it up if he could do it the other way. I'm not so sure you could do that, but if you do, you give him a better look, and that might have been a little low.
As it stands, the bases are loaded with 2 out for J.J. Hardy, who fouled out to first his first time up. What looked like a chance for a quick inning for David Huff has turned into potential trouble. He had 2 outs and the bases empty, but a double and 2 walks have him loaded. And Hardy takes a strike. Huff ready with the 0-1. Change of pace, and it caught the corner. Hardy doesn't like it. He's down on the count 0-2. Now the 0-2 pitch. And Hardy chops it foul over toward the Indians' dugout. This, I think, was a great trade for Minnesota, sending Carlos Gomez to Milwaukee to get J.J. Hardy. Because even though he's got pretty good offensive potential, I mean, his 36 errors at shortstop, fewest in the majors since 2007.
Well, and they do not have an error on the left side of their infield from third base or shortstop this year. They give up a center fielder, Gomez, who they thought was going to be better when they traded Santana. They get this kid for a middle, they have some hitters. I think but by the time this kid gets in this league, maybe the second, third time we see him, he swings the bat pretty well. He'll get adjusted to this league.
Struck him out looking. David Huff gets out of the jam, and the Twins leave him loaded. Hardy dismayed with the call of Laz Diaz. 2-2, middle of the third. Meat of the order for the Indians coming up here. Grady Sizemore, Shin-Soo Choo, and Austin Kearns. Francisco Liriano, 43 pitches through the first 2 innings. Comes out smoking with a first pitch strike. 5 Indians hitters already have seen 5 or more pitches in an at-bat. So,
well, that's a good thing. But he had a rough first, and I think a lot of it he had to do with it himself by the mistakes. Second inning, he settled down. He gave out a 2-out double to Marson, but he had 2 strikeouts in that inning. So this guy, we mentioned, he doesn't give up many hits. He doesn't walk many. He had less hits and walks in innings pitched coming into today. So you're going to have to take advantage of him when you get base runners.
And the Indians did that for the most part in the first, although they had a chance to inflict some more damage. But a double play ball ended the threat. Swung on and missed. He got Sizemore for his 3rd strikeout. Let's pause for station identification. You're watching Cleveland Indians baseball. Matt Underwood, Rick Manning with you here at Progressive Field in downtown Cleveland. Twins got 2 in the top of the first. Indians got 2 in the bottom of the first. Tried batting bottom of the third. Shin-Soo Choo, who singled, wound up stealing third base later in that inning and came home to score the tying run on a balk by Liriano. 2 balls, no strikes.
Well, that's one way to get home from third base, that you can't do from second. If you steal third, he was off and running on the first pitch.
A little bit high again, 3 balls and no strikes.
The Twins are one of the few teams that can execute against Chu. That's why he's had a tough time against them in his career. These guys have a tendency to execute that fastball inside, and they stay in there. They don't give him a lot of swinging room. Other clubs, you know, when they go in there, they don't go or double up or triple up in there. Minnesota does that to Chu. And when you have a scouting report, if your pitchers can execute how you want to pitch guys, which Minnesota does, they can make it a long series for you. They're one of the better teams at it. Let me put it that way.
Struck him out. How about that? He was 3-0, came back with 3 straight to retire Chu. 4 strikeouts for Liriano, 3 in a row in the game. And look out, because he might be starting to settle in now. Subway fresh face of the game, Jordan Brown. He led the International League in average a year ago with a .336 batting average.
Remember he hurt that when we were out there at spring training. It was on a workout, for goodness sakes. In the morning he hurt his knee.
Subway, play hard, eat fresh. Austin Kearns drew a walk in his first at bat. One ball and 1 strike. Liriano now 55 pitches on the afternoon. Austin with a check swing. You know, he did that last night, remember, to end the inning.
Yeah.
And ended up lining it into the glove of Morneau at first base.
Again, here they are trying to run that heater in on him. They stay in on Chu, and right there, when you get those swings and they hit the bat, they're staying inside.
Fouled out of play, up into the fan cave, and it went in.
Maybe it did.
Maybe it hit the 8-ball corner pocket.
It might have. It might have bank shot. I think they called bank on it. They did. It went right into the fan cave, went into the pool table. They pulled it out as a souvenir.
Yes, indeed.
It might have hit the Minnesota Twins toilet paper in the fan cave.
Swung on and missed, and Liriano strikes out the side. He's fanned 4 straight. We are still tied at 2. Delivers inside for ball 1. 58 pitches for Huff, 37 for strikes. 9 of 16 first pitch strikes. Able to get out of a bases loaded jam in the 3rd. And Wilson Ramos, who picked up his first major league hit in his first major league at bat in the 2nd inning. That got Lou Marson right on the shin guard and the knee, but, you know, it might have got him above it. Maybe got him in the thigh.
Well, you see, when the umpires know that a catcher takes one a direct hit right off the kneecap, they go out there to the pitcher. Watch what Laz Diaz does. He goes right out to the pitcher's mound. He knows he's going to give him a few minutes there, or a few seconds, extra seconds, just to let that sting go away.
Yeah, even though you have that padding, you still feel it.
Oh, boy. You know, we don't know, but how you feel it. These guys shake it off like it's nothing.
Now the 2-1. Fouled away. I've been behind the plate a few times with the tools of ignorance.
Right, but they're not throwing 90. They're throwing about 30.
I think Dave Berber was throwing about 45.
Yeah, just lobbing it in and letting them hit it. But still, I mean, did you take any foul tips?
There's a foul ball to third. No. And I was sitting on a chair.
I know that. You had a bum knee. We allowed that to take place.
Tell you, Wilson Ramos is hurting right now. We see guys foul balls off their feet and off their shins a lot, but he really is hobbling. And this is a catcher, so this is normally a tough guy, not somebody who wants a little attention. That looked like it was right off the top of his foot.
Catchers beat themselves up more than anybody. That might have been off the shin. That's a shin burner.
That might have got his shin and his foot. That might have been a two-tapper.
Shin burner with cheese right there.
So Marson has been drilled, and his counterpart Ramos has drilled himself in this at-bat. That's another thing that Mike Redmond was saying today. He said, you know, some guys are just lucky as catchers. Some guys never get hit. I said, well, you know, Pudge Rodriguez has never seemed to be a guy who's ever had injury problems. And he said, yeah. He goes, when I played with him in Florida, I don't think he ever got hit with a foul tip. The other day he said, I had 3 foul tips and 2 at-bats.
Redmond is like an accident waiting to happen back there. He gets hit more than anybody. And Rodriguez, he doesn't get hit because he doesn't block balls in the dirt either. He doesn't want to get hit.
3-2 the count on Wilson Ramos. Huff's payoff pitch. Slugged up the middle. And how do you like that? Wilson Ramos, who was hitting 179 at AAA, is now 2 for 2 in his first big league game.
It gets easier as you come up, and he's still hobbling on that leg. Well, he had a 2-out single back in the second. And he's got a leadoff single here in the fourth. That's hit number 7 now for the Twins.
For those of you tuning in to see hockey, stay tuned because when our game wraps up, we'll take you directly to the Stanley Cup playoffs. I believe it's the Penguins and the Canadiens airing here on Channel 3 today.
You believe?
I don't know for sure.
Right.
Punto with a push bunt foul. Wilson Ramos still hobbled down there at first base, and he was just called up and activated today because Joe Mauer is hobbled with a heel injury.
Yeah, that's not something that Ron Gardenhire wants to see, is another catcher hobbling.
The 0-1 popped him up on the infield. Grudzielanek and Marte converge. Grudzielanek calling. 1 down.
You know, we mentioned the first 3 innings how Minnesota has really jumped on the Tribe over the course of this year, but from that 4th inning on, they're hitting just 188. Well, McDonald's Big Mac Monday returns tomorrow night. Purchase a Big Mac and redeem a box lid for a buy one, get one free upper box ticket to see the Toronto Blue Jays will be in town for the first time this year. Redeem your box lid at any Indians team shop or box office.
Here's Denard Span, 1 for 2 with a single and a run scored. Pops this in the air to left. Kearns routine. 2 down. Well, the Indians, in contrast to those numbers that the Twins have from the fourth inning on, Minnesota's hitting 188 from the fourth inning on against the Indians in their season series. The Indians hitting almost 100 points higher at 286 from the fourth inning on. 2 down for Orlando Hudson, who hit a 2-run homer in the first. And a strike called. Hudson signing just a 1-year contract with the Twins this offseason. In fact, he didn't sign till February 4th, so it was right before spring training started when he signed on with Minnesota after playing his last 8 seasons with Toronto, Arizona, and the Dodgers. And last year with LA, hit 283 and won the Gold Glove.
But didn't play the second half of the year. Ended up getting a Belliard, ended up getting playing time. Second half of the year.
Big chopper to third. Peralta waits back. Goes to second for the inning-ending force. And we'll go to the bottom of the fourth inning, tied at 2. Today we saw on the scoreboard video they got engaged today. So she's calling mom, dad, relatives, and he's sipping orange juice thinking, oh boy, what have I done? Can't take it back now. You got to go through. Now, congratulations to that happy couple. Johnny Peralta leads off the bottom of the fourth inning. He walked his first time up. Johnny, 5 out of 9 in the series with a double, a triple, and a homer. Good off-speed pitch from Liriano. That's pitch number 60 for the Twins left-hander who has struck out 4 straight Indians hitters. At the knees, called a strike. That's that pitch you were talking about. It's low, right at the knees. It's not an easy pitch to go down and get.
No, it's not. And you take that because if he throws that slider down and in, a lot of times it may be a ball. And if you swing at it, I think the best you can do is either beat yourself up, right? See that check swing.
Foul
that
ball.
That hit him.
Yep.
You know, a lot of the left-handers, when they have that hard cutter or that slider, good slider coming down and into righties, it actually is not a strike, and they end up swinging at it, and there's nothing you can do with it. Check this pitch out. Breaking ball, and see, he wanted to hold up. That might have been a strike if he doesn't. He got a piece to stay alive. It was definitely high enough. But you can see it had good, very good bite to it, and Johnny just got a piece to stay alive.
Now Liriano's 1-2. Struck him out. 5 in a row for Liriano. That'll bring up Mark Grudzielanek, who bounced into a double play his first time up. Every time the Indians homer this year, we raise money for the Gathering Place. $840 raised so far. You can log on to touchedbycancer.org to make a donation yourself, or just simply to learn more about the Gathering Place, which helps individuals and their family members who are dealing with and fighting cancer. Up the middle, and Grudzielanek breaks the streak with a one-out single to center. Pitch was away, and Grudzielanek just went right back up the middle with it.
Well, Mark stayed back on that one the first time he hit into that double play. He tried to pull a ball, but he hits that one up the middle. Hit number 4 for the Tribe. Ends that string, as you mentioned, of 5 consecutive strikeouts.
Andy Marte was the first strikeout victim of Francisco Liriano back in the second inning. And a slider for a called strike. The 0-1, hammered foul down the left side. And a nice grab on the hop. Keeps the Bud Light in hand. Hangs on.
Well, you know that's not going down. Take a drink. You're thirsty now. Had to make that play.
Tied at 2, 4th inning. Up high with the pitch. Ball and 2 strikes. Now the 1-2 is in the dirt, smothered nicely by Ramos. And right now, if you're Wilson Ramos, whether that foul tip hurt or not, he's going to act like it didn't hurt because he doesn't want to have to go back.
Oh, he's fine. Stinging's gone. It's tomorrow he'll feel it.
The 2-2. Just missed, and now the count goes full. And Liriano has reached the 70 pitch mark here this afternoon, and we're only in the 4th inning. Laporta waits on deck. And the payoff pitch is ball 4. So after striking out 5 in a row, a hit and a walk, and the Indians have something brewing here in the 4th with Matt Laporta coming to the plate.
Yeah, all their hits today have come when Liriano was out of the full windup. That's the first guy to reach from the stretch, but it comes via the walk.
So Matt Laporta with a chance here to break the tie. Ground ball to third. Backhanded nicely by Punto. They get one at second. On to first. An inning-ending double play around the horn. We have played 4 here at Progressive Field, and we are still tied at 2.
By KeyBank, stop in and start a conversation and unlock your possibilities. And by Panini's, we're expanding. Visit paninisgrill.com for a list of new locations.
Ball one outside to the leadoff man for Minnesota here in the 5th inning, Michael Kadire, who was 0 for 2.
Well, a guy that has been very good against the Indians this year. Been able to hold him in check today.
Popped him up. And Chu has a routine play in right field. And a quick out here in the 5th. That'll bring up Justin Morneau, who is 2 for 2 with 2 doubles. Both of them to the opposite field.
Well, both have been elevated. One was down a little bit more. The one he drove to left center field was about middle of the plate and out over. The other one was up about letter high, and he hit it off the left field wall. So, in other words, get it down. But he's swinging the bat well. He hit that home run off Carmona. That ball was down and out over the plate, and he just hit it like a 2-iron to center field.
Two-0 pitch outside, 3 balls and no strikes, and this might be the best strategy of all.
Put him on.
Yeah, if he wants to swing at your pitch, go ahead and let him get himself out. But Morneau asks for time. Now Huff with a 3-0 delivery. And he swung at it.
That. Got
It's
the
a
breaking ball.
weak ground ball to Grudzelanek, 2 down.
Well, the first fireworks show of the season, when the Tigers are coming to town, will be this Friday night. And all fans, you're going to see another great fireworks display. It's synchronized to songs from the Billboard Top 100 Alternative Chart. Half-price student ID night as well. 216-420-HIT's the number to call.
Well, Jim Thome has walked and struck out here today. Hits this one deep to center. Grady racing back. Look out, and it's gone. Jim Thome with his 5th home run of the year and his 569th career home run, tying Rafael Palmeiro on baseball's all-time home run list for 11th place.
Well, that didn't take long to get out of here, did it? Second home run of the day by the Twins. Home run number 5. David Huff, fastball, middle. Boom. Boy, hitters let you know when you make a mistake in a hurry.
Delman Young fouls a pitch off. 3-2, Twins on top now. Delman Young singled to right field in the 1st inning. Walked in the 3rd. Up high, ball and 2 strikes. And more, that ball's crushed. Deep left, and Delman Young has gone back-to-back with Jim Thome to give Minnesota a 4-2 lead. Delman Young's 3rd home run of the year.
I believe that's now 9 two-out runs that they've scored in this series. But back-to-back jacks make it a 4-2 ball game. Young his 3rd.
3-homer day for David Huff. Boy, how the tides can turn so quickly. Just when it looked like, you got Justin Morneau to ground out on a 3-0 pitch. And Might be out of the inning with a 1-2-3. Back-to-back homers. Change the mood in a hurry. 0-1. A ball and a strike to J.J. Hardy, who is 0 for 2. Grady Sizemore, he's on his horse. He's racing back, and he makes the catch over the shoulder in deep straightaway center field. But the Twins get back-to-back solo homers, and they now lead it 4-2. Lariano with the first pitch strike.
See how he reacts after his team comes back and gives him a couple of quick runs with 2 outs. The Indians, after the Twins scored 2 in the first, came right back to score 2. In partly because Lariano's mistakes in that first inning, the error and a balk.
2 double play balls have helped Lariano, though, get out of trouble. Double play ball ended that first inning when the Indians had runners at first and second. And then they had first and second again in the fourth when a double play ended that inning. Lou Marson doubled to right center field his first time up today. And now a bouncing ball into center field for another hit. He's 2 for 2. So the 2 catchers in this game are a combined 4 for 4.
Gets a fastball right back up the middle. He got one the other time that, out over the plate, drove it to right center field for his double. So a couple of hits for Marson. That's good for the old ego, and it's good for his batting average.
As Dribble Cabrera was trying to bunt for a hit right there, and
he sure
fouled
was.
It away. Now in at third is Punto. And this time Cabrera swings and fouls it out of play. Cabrera got the ball rolling for the Indians offensively today when he singled off the leg of Liriano in the first. Went to third on his air, came home on an RBI ground out by Grady Sizemore. Struck out his last time up. And now he's trying to single one into right field on the move, and Kadire with a great short hop. But the Indians have back-to-back hits to open the bottom of the fifth inning.
Well, a tough one to read if you're the base runner, so you basically just have to go halfway and make sure he doesn't catch the ball. He wanted to come in, and he continued to come in, and a lot of times as an outfielder, that's what you should do to get the short hop. If you lay off sometimes it's that tougher play. See, that was a nice short hop. If you go in between, that ball bounces up, it bounces off you, you could make an error. He continued to come. He stayed aggressive on the ball, and he made a nice short hop pick.
That's almost one of those, even though you're down two, if you're Lou Marson and he makes that catch, you tip your cap to him and you get doubled off.
If he dives.
You have to get to second base.
Oh, gosh, yes. That was an 0-2 pitch right there to Cabrera as well.
Grady Sizemore 0 for 2. Drove in a run in the first inning with a ground out. And swings wildly at a slider down and away. 80 pitches now on the day for Francisco Liriano. His team just handed him a 2-run lead.
That's why the Tribe coming right back.
And they get 2 quick hits against him. Trying to cash in.
You know, big swing, because this is the rubber game of the series. You know, the Indians, they can get a win. You take 2 out of 3. They were able to win 1 up in Minnesota, so you split with the Twinkies, who are playing as good baseball as they can play. On the other hand, they've got that 4-2 lead, and, you know, if they come in here and win that series, well, it's 4 out of 6, and they feel good about themselves going home. But home field, let's see if the Indians can, they scored late last night.
Grady can't help himself. Down on the count, 1-2.
Well, that's a good slider. I mean, he must be having a really tough time picking up the spin on that slider, because once you start, you're thinking it's fastball, and all of a sudden you see that ball starting to break, and you realize it's a breaking ball, and you can't hold up.
1-2 pitch, he fouls it away.
Then, to keep you honest, they run the heater back inside on you.
Now, Liriano being able to rush it up there in the mid-90s. He can even go in there and get away with a miss once in a while, too.
Sure you can. I mean, every pitcher can. You can go in there once in a while and get away with one.
Just missed inside that time, and Sizemore able to work the count back to even now at 2-2.
You get away with them more times than not when you're ahead in the count. When you're behind in the count, it seems like that's when they do their damage.
Liriano's 2-2. Jammed him, broke the bat. Hudson will go to second to get the force there. Indians at first and third with 1 out. Take a look at our American League Earned Run Average League leaders, brought to you by the GMC Sierra. Never send a truck to do a Sierra's job. And you see coming into today, 0-93 for Francisco Liriano, our 5-star league leader. Mitch Talbot right there as well. We'll see Mitch Talbot pitch tomorrow night in the series opener against Toronto. We'll have that for you on Sports Time Ohio at 7:05. First and third for the Indians. 1 out here in the bottom of the 5th, down a pair. Chu able to lay off, 1-1. Chu came up empty with a big swing and a miss. 1-2 the count. Chases Sizemore back. Grady does have 2 steals. And you know he'd love to try and get into scoring position right here.
Well, you got to make sure of the move. I mean, Chu with 2 strikes. You feel he may throw that breaking ball. He's tough to get a lead on.
His 7th strikeout today, 2 down in the inning.
You're in the middle part of your order. You can't afford to make an out on the bases. He just runs the heater by him. So the 2nd straight time he's gotten Chu to swing and miss. Now it's up to Austin Kearns with 2 outs.
Indians now 0 for 6 today with a runner in scoring position. Austin Kearns struck out his last time up. And a great pick by Wilson Ramos, or the Indians would have probably had a run back right there.
Right in the heel of the glove. You see it stuck?
Kearns bangs it just foul. Wide of third. He evens the count at 1-1. Getting some activity in the Indians bullpen right now as Rafael Perez is starting to get loose. So I don't know if that means David Huff may be done. Meanwhile, Liriano 92 pitches on the day, and Kearns slugs it down the right field line, slicing, fair ball into the corner. That'll get 1 run home. Sizemore racing around third. He's going to be waved. Hudson's throw to the plate, and he is out. Boylas Diaz waited a long time to make sure Ramos held on to the ball. Grady thought maybe he slid under the tag, but the Indians come up short. However, they do get a run back, and it's now a 4-3 Twins lead through 5. (4-3) Twins now lead it. As Austin Kearns got 1 run back for the Indians.
Good relay coming in from Kadire to Hudson into Ramos to get Grady Sizemore at home plate.
Ramos fouls the first pitch off here.
He's 2 for 2 today. A couple of hard singles. And this is where I think Manny Acta keeps an eye on David Huff, and maybe why that bullpen is going in the 6th inning. His ERA this year is 8.10.
Fouled out of play. Second time in this game, third time in this series, we've had a runner cut down at home plate.
Boy,
Ramos bidding for his third hit. He's got it. Off the fence and left. He's looking for two, but he'll take a wide turn and put the brakes on.
Yeah, wisely.
3 for 3 with 3 singles in his major league debut for Wilson Ramos.
I'll tell you what, this kid, he wasn't even fooled. Here you go. Kadire plays it smartly. Right there, Hudson. The relay, Ramos. There it is, Grady. Right there. The ball beats him now. You know, he may get his foot underneath, but does he have the plate or not? We don't know. There's the tag. No, the ball beats him. He's going to be called out.
Well, after surrendering the leadoff single, David Huff is out. After 5 innings of work, he'll leave with the Tribe on the short end of a 4-3 score. Bringing in left-hander Rafael Perez to face the switch-hitting Nick Punto. Rafael Perez, in his last 6 appearances, has worked a total of 5 innings, allowing 6 hits and 4 walks. David Huff, a rough go of it here today, surrendering 10 hits in his 5 innings plus 1 batter here in the 6th.
Well, you think about it, he gave up 3 dingers today, but they were all the runs scored via home run. A couple of solo shots and that 2-run home run in the first. Solo shots you don't mind. You know, they're not going to take you out of the ball game. 2-runner was early. His location a little bit off, and he made too many mistakes middle of the plate today.
Nick Punto wanted a bunt, looks at a ball outside. He is 0 for 2 today. Perez delivers, and Punto bunts it foul right back over the screen. 1 ball, 1 strike. Stay tuned after the game here on Channel 3 for the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs, and then later tonight, it's Dateline NBC at 7. And then later tonight, Celebrity Apprentice at 9 and Channel 3 News at 11. Rafael Perez with the 1-1 to Punto, and instead he throws to first where Ramos wasn't straying too far from the bag. Two balls and a strike. Punto checks down with Scott Alger, third base coach. Now that the count has tipped in his favor, 2-1.
Well, with that catcher, I mean, you're afraid to start him with the left-hander on him. He can't run to begin with. And if you don't run, then you don't create a hole for a hit and run. So that's why Punto up there to try and bunt him over, and Perez won't throw him a strike.
He may not have to bunt.
Well,
Maybe a little walk and move him over.
It's amazing. Punto's a guy, he's up there to do his job. Let me bunt him over, but you got to throw strikes.
That's been elusive for Rafael Perez this year.
Yes, it has. He's pitching way too many times behind in the count. 2-0. Now we got a 3-1.
Bunts it to first. Marte gets the out there with Grudzalana covering at the bag. Ramos in the scoring position with one out. Let's go back to the studio right now for this in-game update and Dave Chudowski.
All right, Matt, you guys have talked about the Jays coming to Cleveland. Well, watch out today. They're beating up on the A's. Back-to-back home runs here in the fourth. That's Fred Lewis. This is Aaron Hill. Ben Sheets has given up 9 runs, 3 homers. It's 9-1 in the sixth. Back to you.
All right, thanks, Dave. Toronto with 11 hits in that game already in the 6th inning. Here the Twins have 10 hits, but their lead just 4-3. Runner in scoring position. With one out, top of the order, Denard Span, who is 1 for 3 today. And Rafael Perez misses for ball 1. Last year in 54 appearances, Rafael Perez had a 7.31 ERA. And you talk about those walks, he walked 25 in his 48 innings last year. But already 5 walks in 7 innings this season. There's a strike to even the count at 1-1. And as I think what you were alluding to, it's not so much the walks as it is pitching behind, because that leads to hits.
Well, sure it does. I mean, a couple years ago when he was pitching well, he could throw that slider for strikes. He would get guys to swing at pitches out of the zone because he was pitching from in front. Now it changes the whole attitude and the whole at-bat when a pitcher doesn't have to swing at any of your pitches if he doesn't want to.
Well, let's see what he can do here. He's ahead of Span now, 1-2.
Well, and the Minnesota team's a disciplined team. I mean, the Yankees are that way. The Red Sox are always that way. When you fall behind, they're going to make you pay, and they're going to really make you work hard to get an out. They're not going to give you any outs. You get easy outs when you're ahead in the count. We'll see what he does here.
The 1-2. Span just fights it off to stay alive.
The Indians' bullpen has been very good this year when it comes to inherited runners. They have allowed just 4 of the 46 inherited runners to score this year, which leads Major League Baseball. Perez came on with Ramos on first base.
The 1-2. Outside to even the count. Now the 2-2 coming. And it's low, full count. Now Jamie Wright is up and ready in the bullpen. You've got the switch hitting Orlando Hudson on deck, and then right-handed hitting Michael Kadire. So this may be a short stint for Rafael Perez if he can't get Span here. This will be his 12th pitch. 6 balls, 5 strikes. And now he steps off. And the 3-2 pitch. His ball 4. He threw it in the dirt. And now Manny Acta will have a decision to make. Do you stay with Perez, who's having a tough time again throwing strikes, or do you make a move right here?
Well, Hudson, a better left-handed hitter overall than right-handed. To 308 coming into today to 273. You know, you keep him from the right side of the plate. We'll see. He is going to leave him in.
Yes, he is.
See if he can get a double play ball.
So Rafael Perez will stay on to face Hudson. And the pitch is low, ball 1. You see the infielders trying to stay on their toes out there. He's thrown 13 pitches. 1 ball's been put in play.
Yeah, well, that's another thing, too. When you're talking about pitchers where there's not a lot of swings and he doesn't work quickly, he walks off the mound. That's one thing you can do. You can stay on the mound this year, and if you need to get some moisture, you know, you lick your fingers, wipe it off, get back on the rubber. That alleviates the walk around, and he still takes more time than any pitcher we have. And the defense gets on their heels, and it's not a good thing.
Now ready with the 1-0. In the air, right field, over near the line. Chu racing, can't get to it. It drops. Everybody moves up 90 feet. Bases loaded. Still only 1 out.
Well, he's got to go get him now, doesn't he?
He sure does.
My goodness.
Well, Manny Acta will make the move. Jamie Wright coming into a hornet's nest. Bases loaded, and only 1 out in the 6th. Have you along for the ride here on Channel 3 today as the Indians and Twins wrapping up a 3-game series. Minnesota leads this game 4-3. They've got a chance to really open it up as Jamie Wright coming on once again, trying to get out of trouble. Last night he got a double play ball in a key spot that enabled him to get the win and the Indians to rally and win it. He has not allowed a run in his last 3 appearances. 5 of 8 on the year are scoreless.
Well, it was Wright that got Perez out of hot water in the first game of this series in the 7th inning.
But this is a tough out right here. Michael Kadire, he's had a tough day, 0 for 3. And he fouls the first pitch right back.
He's doing it against a much tougher hitter right now.
Kadire popped up to first in the first, flied to left in the third, flied to right in the 5th. And a double play ball to short.
How about
they
that?
Get one. Grudzielanek turns a double play, and for the second straight day, Jamie Wright reaches in, pulls the rabbit out of the hat. What a magician. And it's a 4-3 Minnesota lead, bottom of the 6th inning, thanks in part to Jamie Wright, who for the second straight day gets a double play to clean up one of his fellow relievers' mess.
That was a great pitch to a good hitter to get out of a tough situation. And for the season series, Minnesota has grounded into 14 double plays in this game number 6 now against the Indians this year. Indians have grounded into 7. And 2 today.
Johnny Peralta hammers one to left. Delman Young back on the track, pulls it down. This game recap brought to you by your Northern Ohio Toyota dealers. For a dealer near you, visit buyatoyota.com. Jim Thome's solo homer made it 3-2 Twins. Delman Young followed with a solo shot of his own. And then Austin Kearns doubles down the line. 1-run scores. Grady Sizemore called out at the plate, and so we still stay at 4-3. That ball was very close to going above the line down into that right field corner. Hit high in the right near the yellow line.
What is it with Austin Kern, 2 outs, and you got runners in scoring position, man? He goes that way and looks down that right field line, doesn't he? Shoots it that way. He's got a number of key hits for the Indians this year doing that.
Mark Grudzielanek singled up the middle his last time up against Francisco Liriano, who is now at 97 pitches on the afternoon. A little bit high, and now it's 3-1. Nobody yet loosening in that Twins bullpen, although that could change at a moment's notice. Little tapper. Back to the mound. Liriano makes a perfect throw. 2 down. At a time when college students and their parents are being asked to pay higher tuition costs, is it fair for university presidents to be compensated like corporate CEOs? The investigator, Tom Meyer, reveals the pay and perks Ohio's top educators are pulling in. Tomorrow night at 11 on Channel 3 News.
Is it true that you get a perk or paid extra with an Indians win?
That is not true.
You're on the incentive plan.
Andy Marte has walked and struck out. One and one the count. Just now getting activity in the Twins bullpen as Liriano crosses the 100 pitch threshold. And a strike to Marte.
Liriano in his first start of the year against the White Sox went 6 innings, gave up all 3 runs that he had given up until this start. Then he went 7 innings in his second start against Boston. Against Cleveland in his third and Detroit in his fourth, he went 8 innings both times. He's not going to go more than 6 innings today. But that, a lot of it had to do with that first inning where they made him work hard. He made a throwing error. He threw over 30 pitches in that inning. But he still held it in check. He's given up the 3 runs. He gave up 2 in the first.
And he has struck out 8 today. Twins lead it 4-3 as we go to the 7th. Here in downtown Cleveland on really what has been a very mild and pleasant afternoon. 4-3, Twins on top. Justin Morneau, jam job to short where Johnny Peralta on the shift makes the play. 1 quick out here in inning number 7. 6th inning, Twins had a chance to really blow it open. Bases loaded, only 1 out. Michael Kadire at the plate. Jamie Wright comes into the game, gets the double play ball to get out of the jam. McDonald's, I'm loving it. You know Jamie Wright and the Indians certainly were.
Well, absolutely. Manny Acta was loving that.
Jim Thome homered to break what was then a 2-2 tie in the 5th with 2 outs and the bases empty. And then Delman Young followed with a solo shot to make it 4-2. Indians have come back to within a run. Outside corner. Called strike, 1-1. 2 balls and a strike. Pop back out of play, and the count evens at 2-2. If you joined us late, that home run by Jim Thome moves him into a tie for 11th place on baseball's home run list with Rafael Palmeiro, 569. Now the 2-2. He did not go. Close pitch, and the count goes full. I didn't think he offered at it, but it looked like a pretty good pitch to begin with.
Yeah, down and in a little bit. They crowded in the last 2 pitches. Hard to tell from that angle if it was on the plate.
Wright's payoff pitch. Outside, ball 4. Thome aboard with 1 out for Delmon Young.
Well, you can take a break from the busy work week ahead. That'll be Wednesday, where you come to Progressive Field for lunch and 3 innings. Well, once you get here, you know you're going to stay for all 9 anyway. It's a 12:05 start on Wednesday against the Blue Jays. Plus, you get $10 in a food credit. All for $15. Come on out Wednesday. 216-420-HITS is the number to call.
Delmon Young takes the first pitch strike. Delmon Young started the day 1 for 13 against the Indians, but he's done some damage today. Back over the screen. 0-2. Ron Gardenhire's club trying to hold on to the top spot in the AL Central. But Detroit is charging hard. Tigers have won 4 in a row, and they lead 5-zip over the Angels today. In the hole, base hit for Delmon Young.
They haven't retired him yet today. That's his 3rd hit. He's walked once. For the Minnesota Twins, that's their 12th hit of the afternoon. So they keep it going with 2 outs. Or excuse me, just 1 out. Gets that ground ball, finds the hole. Not much you can do. He got his ground ball he was looking for.
Tigers winning over LA 5-zip. They've out hit the Angels 10-1 in that game. Detroit just a half game in back of Minnesota in the Central when the day began. And now Laz Diaz calling for time. Looks like Ron Gardenhire might be getting a pinch runner. Yep, here comes Alexi Casilla to run for Jim Thome.
Yeah, just thinking back on it, that was another 0-2 pitch right there that Young got a base hit on. There's been a few 0-2 base hits today. All right, 7th inning, looking to get somebody out there that can run in that DH spot. Try and score an insurance run here if they can.
Little tapper by Hardy foul. J.J. Hardy 0 for 3. Flied to deep center his last time up. That was after the back-to-back homers hit by Thome and Young, and then he sent Grady Sizemore on the dead sprint to center field onto the warning track to pull it down. The 0-1. Fights it off center field. Sizemore won't get there. Plays it on the hop, and the bases are loaded again. Second straight inning, Minnesota has loaded them up. Jamie Wright got out of a bases loaded jam in the 6th. Now he'll have to try to do it again in the 7th. And he'll be facing Wilson Ramos, who's already 3 for 3 in his major league debut here today.
Well, against David Huff, he was not fooled. Every ball he hit was on the nose this afternoon. He's going to get the right-hander, and Jamie Wright could use another double play. As I mentioned earlier, the Twins have hit into 14 against the Indians this year, with this being game number 6, and they need another one. And you look at the 3 knocks that he has had. There's the first base hit, first major league hit right there. Then he stayed right back, went up the middle, and then this one, boom, off the wall for a single. That one hit so hard, and Kearns comes up, and he's got to stop. 3 singles, though, and his everyone on the nose.
Jamie Wright looking for that double play ball again. And he misses inside for ball 1. As the Indians bullpen gets busy. Looks like Aaron Laffey starting to loosen. Wright delivers. Ramos got a piece, 1-1. There's Laffey trying to get loose. He worked in last night's game. Twins lead by a run here in the 7th. And a good pitch for a strike. Took a little something off. Dropped it over the inside corner.
Yeah, started that breaking ball at him to freeze him after he threw that sinker in.
And on the 1-2, Ramos spoils it. Should he get a strikeout of Ramos, Nick Punto would be next. The number 9 hitter in the Twins lineup is 0 for 2. Right now, it's Wright versus Ramos in the 1-2 pitch. And again, he fights it off. He's beating himself up.
Well, he's making good pitches, too. They wanted away, but this ball had movement on it. You see how that two-seamer, it's running back inside, and normally that right-hander will pull over and top it and hit it on the ground, but he's getting the top half of that ball and just beating it straight down into the ground.
Alexi Casilla, the pinch runner at third. Delman Young at second. J.J. Hardy down at first. Popped in the air. Shallow right.
They
will not be
run.
Deep enough.
Not this time. Not against Chu.
Makes the routine grab.
Chu could roll it in.
Look
there.
at that perfect throw to the plate. 2 down.
Yeah, not against Chu.
And now Nick Punto with 2 down on the bases empty.
So another big out from Jamie Wright. Casilla, that's just courtesy. You have to go back because your coach is telling you come back. Look, one hopper. But way too shallow to score him, so they're going to have to rely on a 2-out base hit.
Nick Punto. Ground ball single into right field.
And they get it.
Casilla scores. Delman Young coming home. Chu's throw. Not in time. Nick Punto delivers a 2-out, 2-run single to right. And the Twins open it up now with a 6-3 lead.
It's now 11.
That kind of falls under the category of playing with fire. Eventually, you're going to get burned.
Well, you're right. It's the bottom part of the lineup.
It's the third time today they've had the bases loaded. And the first time they've capitalized.
11 runs now with 2 outs in the series, and the 6-3. Give them a little breathing room right there. That was a big hit by Nick Punto, who just came off the DL to start this series.
Top of the order, first and third, 2 down as Denard Span steps in. Way outside, he missed. 2-0. Minnesota today has made the most of their 2-out opportunities, going 5 for 9. And as Rick just told you, they've scored a bulk load of their runs with 2 outs. Two balls and a strike. Denard Span, infield single and scored in the first. And that also a theme in this series as Minnesota scoring 2 runs in the first inning in all 3 games.
Well, they put 2s on the board in every the first, 5th, and 7th here. They've scored in a couple of crooked numbers up there.
Up high, 3 balls and a strike.
Those are the first 2 runs that didn't score via the long ball right there. And it was a 2-out base hit by the number 9 hitter, Punto, to do it. But eventually, you can't continue to keep bobbing and weaving and get out of innings when they have runners aboard. Eventually, they are going to get a knock.
Twins left them loaded in the 3rd. Loaded in the 6th, double play ball ended that threat. But here in the 7th, a 2-out bases loaded 2-run single by Nick Punto, and now they're loaded again. And we're going to get another pitching change. Timeout here at Progressive Field. It's now Minnesota 6, Cleveland 3. Got them loaded with 2 outs. And the new Indians pitcher is Aaron Laffey for the 11th time this year. 13 hits allowed in 12 2/3 innings. 4 walks, 4 strikeouts. He'll be facing the switch hitting Orlando Hudson. Hudson's base hit in the 6th inning loaded the bases for Minnesota, but then Jamie Wright came on and got a double play to get out of it. Wright stayed on to open this inning. Got Justin Morneau to ground out. Then a walk and 2 singles loaded the bases again. He got Wilson Ramos on a shallow pop fly to right. But then Nick Punto delivering the big 2-out, 2-run single to make it 6-3. And after a walk to Span, Wright gets the hook. Aaron Laffey comes in. And here we go. Hudson 6 for 13 in the series. Laffey misses outside for ball 1. Wide with it, 2 balls, no strikes. Yankees all over the White Sox today, 7-zip in the Bronx. They've out-hit Chicago 14-4 in that game. They're in the 7th inning. Toronto still leads Oakland 9-1. They're in the 8th at the Rogers Center. And the Tigers still spinning a shutout of the Angels, 5-zip in the 8th. And the Angels have been held to just 1 hit today. Baltimore leading Boston 2-1. They're in the 6th at Camden Yards. And Tampa Bay shutting out Kansas City 1-0. They're in the 7th. Down at Tropicana Field. Hudson with a high chopper. Grudzielanek will grab it, touch the bag, and the inning is over. Twins get 2 big ones. Stretch time in Cleveland, 6-3, Minnesota. The bottom half of the 7th inning. Don't forget to stop by Panini's, grab a beverage and an overstuffed sandwich at any of their locations. Stop by in Chagrin Falls. They'll be opening soon. And you can always log on to paninisgrill.com for a list of all their spots. Francisco Liriano over 100 pitches, but he'll stay in to work the bottom of the 7th. He'll face Matt Laporta, Lou Marson, and Asdrubal Cabrera.
Well, if you recall, in the first 2 games of this series, it seems like Ron Gardenhire used the same relievers coming out of that bullpen, so he'd like to extend this inning, see if he can get Liriano out there through one more. He's only at 104 pitches, 64 strikes. Again, he's only given up 7 hits. The Indians got 2 runs in that first inning because of a couple of his mistakes. He had a couple of walks in that inning. So that was really the tough inning that he had. Other than that, it was a 2-out double by Kearns to give them their other run.
Let's face it, as maligned as the Indians' offense has been this year, this was a game. I don't care who was lining up offensively to hit. You are going to have to outpitch Liriano to win. You can't expect to score 7 runs and beat Francisco
You know
Liriano.
that going in. If you're a starting pitcher and you're matched up with the guy's leading the league in ERA, he had 23 consecutive scoreless innings. He's given up less hits and walks per inning pitched. You're thinking going into the game beating them 1-0. Get me a run and I've got to hold them to 0. I think that's got to be your mentality when you go up against a guy like that. And what happens? The Twins, again for the 3rd straight day, come out and get 2 runs in the top half of the first inning, and now you're already down. But the Indians, give them credit. They came back, they battled, they tied it up. But that 7th inning, they come and get that 2-out base hit. It was the first 2 runs they didn't score via the home run ball.
And for the Twins, it was their top 2 hitters who did it today and yesterday, scoring the 2 runs. And in the series opener, it was their 3 and 4 hitters, Maurer and Morneau, who accounted for the first 2 runs in the first inning of action. And then Jim Thome added to the damage with a solo homer in the 5th inning today. And a sky-high pop. Morneau. He's calling for it. Now Hudson calls him off. And the second baseman grabs it, 1 away. Let's go back to the studio right now for another in-game update. Here's Dave Chudowski with the latest from the Bronx.
Yeah, Matt, and it's all Yankees today. Here we are in the 6th inning. Goodbye, Nick Swisher against his former team. A 2-run shot to make it 7-0. Yankees 7 runs on 14 hits right now. That's the score in the 7th. Back to you.
All right, thanks, Dave.
Big Chud, he's had a quiet afternoon, hasn't he?
Why would you say he's had a quiet
I've
afternoon?
only heard him twice today.
You want to hear him more often?
Yeah.
Okay. Chud, get another update for us. Lou Marson, 2 for 2, doubled, single, and scored a run. Maybe he'll come back and update us on what's going on with the Red Sox and the Orioles as Baltimore
trying to go for they won that series already, so they're
going
looking for the sweep. I'll tell you who's played Tampa Bay pretty tough is Kansas City. They've beaten them twice in a row, and they're looking for a sweep with Greinke on the mound, and they've been able to hold that offense down. Texas Rangers went up to Seattle and won the first 2 games. They beat Cliff Lee coming off the DL and also King Felix last night and going for the sweep today. Kinsler's back in that lineup now. Had a good night last night.
He's a difference maker for them.
He sure is.
Boy, and the Angels, too, that's another team. They're on the verge of being swept after they looked so
Detroit.
good in Anaheim. Behind the bag, Punto. 1 hops to throw to Morneau. 2 down. Francisco Liriano back in the 2nd inning got on a roll where he struck out
Slider.
5 consecutive Indians hitters.
Slider, fastball, slider. 2 fastballs, 3 sliders. He ended up having 5 straight, the top 5 hitters in the lineup.
He's fanned 8 in all today. 2 down for Asdrubal Cabrera, who's 2 out of 3. Fouls that pitch off. 6 runs on 14 hits with 1 error for Minnesota. 3 runs, 7 hits, no errors for the Indians. Missed inside off the plate. 12,619 paid attendance here today at Progressive Field. High pop, left field, near the line. Young back on the track. He jumps up, won't be able to make the catch. And Cabrera around second. He'll hold right there.
Nope. Stay right there is right. Well, it's career high as far as pitches go for Liriano this afternoon. Or, excuse me, a season high. At 118. And as Drubel gets under this one, he maybe loses a little bit on his fastball late in the ball game, and here it comes about halfway off the wall, comes down in front of Young. But down 3 runs, you can't afford to get thrown out. There's 2 outs anyway, but you're in scoring position.
And now Grady Sizemore 0 for 3 to the plate. He's had a tough go against Liriano.
Well, he's tough against anybody, especially now left-handers. I would think he's even tougher. Not many left-handers have knocks off him this year.
Swung on and missed. As you say, that slider must be very difficult to pick up.
The spin on it, sometimes, you know, as a left-hander, you may not pick up the spin until it's too late. And his slider is so good. And he's throwing his fastball in the mid-90s. You know, it's just really difficult if you're not picking it up.
Down too low, 1-1 the count.
There's a 95-mile-an-hour fastball. And he's at 120. But just mentioned his season high. Now it's a career high.
Tommy Bo's just keeping you guessing,
I
pal.
mean, no kidding.
Here's
why
the
don't you come
1-1.
sit here?
Called strike. 1-2 the count.
That's 118. It's a career high. No, it's season high. He throws 2 more. Yeah, that's a season high. No, career high. That's it. Oh, my God.
Here's the 1-2. In the dirt. Good stop by Ramos. Ron Gardenhire anxiously pacing in that Twins dugout. I'm sure he's well aware of the pitch count of Liriano, hoping that he can work through this inning. And the 2-2 pitch swung on and missed. He does indeed get his 9th strikeout of the day. And the Twins are in command 6-3. Michael Kadire, Justin Morneau, and Alexi Casilla due up. Kadire looks at the ball down low. In the air. Routine for Grady Sizemore. The center fielder squeezes that one away.
Well, Tribe fans, get gear and go cheer. Spend $50 or more at any Indians team shop or Progressive Field concession stand or Indians.com and receive a voucher good for 2 tickets to any Indians home game in May or June.
Three on the right side for the Indians. And a strike to Justin Morneau. He has 2 doubles and 2 groundouts tonight. Today, rather. It's getting darker, though.
Well, compared to what we heard yesterday, this has been a beautiful day.
Man,
you know what I mean? We thought that we were in for showers all day, and we haven't had a drop. It's been beautiful. Warm.
The 1-1. And it caught the outside corner. The 1-2 pitch. Missed a little bit outside.
Atlanta did. So they go on.
Morneau shoots it right back to the screen. The Angels finally broke through against the Tigers, scoring a run. 5-1 Detroit, though, leading it late. 2-2 pitch. Oh, that ball is hit high in the air, deep to right. Chu on the track will pull it down. 2 away. Tuesday at 6, it's the Indians Minor League Magazine on Sports Time Ohio. They'll take you around the Indians farm system with updates and news on the Indians farm hands. Indians Minor League Magazine, Tuesday at 6, only on Sports Time Ohio. Alexi Casilla came on to pinch run back in the 7th inning for Jim Thome. His first plate appearance here today. Came out of his shoes. Bounced that one into the dirt, foul. Stay tuned here on Channel 3, NHL Stanley Cup playoff action. And then later tonight, it's Dateline NBC at 7 o'clock. Celebrity Apprentice at 9. And then Channel 3 News at 11.
We have any score on that hockey game?
2-1 Canadiens with 2:58 to go in the second period.
Thank you very much.
I've got a pipeline right into Mike Emmerich.
Oh, yeah, you mean the Popper Emmerich?
Hector Ambrose warming for the Indians in the bullpen. The 1-2 is high and wide.
I think, you know, if we had to talk to John Creepopper, or we call him Popper, we had to do it before the game because he's locked in. He's a hockey fanatic.
Mr. Canadien. He likes the Canadiens and the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Yeah. Well, he lives in Canada in the offseason.
Laffey knocked that one almost back to the catcher, Lou Marson, who couldn't get a throw off in time. Laffey had it in the mitt, but it wouldn't stay there. And when he tried to pull it out, that ball shot back towards home plate. So a tough break there, and the Twins have a 2-out base runner for Delman Young. He's got it, and then whoop.
Yeah, he throws it back.
Right back.
It didn't stick in the webbing. That ball coming maybe a little harder than he thought.
What a day for Delman Young. 3 for 3. 2 singles and a homer. Now he might have a double. down the right field line. Chu's going to play the carom smartly off the wall. Young holds with a single. Casilla goes to third. He is a perfect 4 for 4 today. And he came into this game 1 for 13 against Indians pitching in the season
look
series.
at that, right down the line. Boy, you talk about staying inside the baseball. Yeah, he swung the bat very well. He's had a great afternoon. You know, once you have a good afternoon, you know, that slot where Tomey was hitting in front of him and Young, they've scored 4 of the 6 runs. Mm-hmm. And they've been on. The only time they weren't on, and that includes Casilla, was one time when Tomey struck out in the first. Other than that, they have done a lot of damage in that number 5 and 6 hole.
There is Hector Ambriz warming. J.J. Hardy will be the batter here with 2 on and 2 out in the 8th, and the Twins already leading it 6-3. Over on Sports Time Ohio tonight, Bruce Drennan will have All Bets Are Off live at 7. And then tune into the Golf Zone with Jimmy Hanlon later at 9 o'clock tonight. They'll have the latest from the PGA. Who went into the lead with the lead
Billy
today?
Mayfair.
Billy Mayfair, right?
Yes, he did. Billy Mayfair, I think Mickelson was a shot or 2 off the lead.
Jimmy, you'll have the latest on that, plus any tips you may need. He's the expert. Give him a call, and he'll get you straightened out.
Well, then word is that Mayfair is now in 3rd place, or actually 5th place, because you got Cabrera and Rory McIlroy.
No, that's impossible. Cabrera's at shortstop.
No, there's a lot of Cabreras in the world of sports. Is he the switch-hitting golfer?
This ball's up against a tree. He's going to know. He'll just pull out. He'll go left-handed on this.
Well, in this series, this is where Minnesota has done their damage. 12 of the 19 runs scored with 2 outs.
Slow chopper hit to third. Peralta will have to hurry. Unloads, and they got him. Twins leave a pair stranded, but they lead 6-3 as we go to the bottom of the 8th. And once again, Ron Gardenhire will go to Jesse Crane. He's already worked in the first 2 games of this series, so why not make it a clean sweep? Crane worked a scoreless inning in the series opener, and he was on the mound when the game came to an end last night.
Well, he almost you did a Houdini act, came in with that bases loaded, nobody out, and got the first 2 guys before Cabrera got that hit. Remember, they had to take that rookie out. They brought in Jesse Crane, and he just couldn't get through it. A big base hit by Cabrera. We will see the big man coming out of their bullpen for the 9th. He hasn't pitched in the series.
Shin-Soo Choo, Austin Kearns, Johnny Peralta here in the 8th for the Tribe. Shin-Soo Choo awaiting the pitch from Jesse Crane. There's a strike to the outside corner. They just had a picture up on the scoreboard, and they just took it down. It was a picture of Cher with Choo behind her. I'm assuming it was a picture of Sonny and Cher. They superimposed Choo's face. That was pretty good. There
it is. I got you, babe.
Oh, we need a moment of levity. 1 down here in the 8th inning. As Austin Kearns comes to the plate. 1 out of 2 today. Drove in a run with a double back in the 5th. Missed inside. And a breaking ball for a strike. 1-1 the count. 6 runs on 16 hits today for Minnesota. 3 runs, 8 hits for the Tribe. Kearns going the other way again. That's extra bases into the right field corner. That'll be his 2nd double of the day. And a 1-out base runner here in the 8th.
This guy's a machine. 3rd time he's been on base today. His 9th double of the year. He continues to swing a good bat.
Well, he's hitting .373 for the season so far.
Well, he just puts a good approach to every at bat. I mean, even when they get him out, he has very good swings and he fouls off some good pitches. He's been very consistent.
Now Johnny Peralta fouls it out of play. Peralta 0 for 2. He flied out to deep left his last time up. He was 5 for 9 in the first 2 games of the series with a double, a triple, and a home run. Walked in the 1st inning today. And then he was the last of the 5 consecutive strikeout victims of Francisco Liriano in the 4th inning before he flew out to deep left in the 6th. Bouncing ball to Nick Punto. 2 down. That'll bring up Mark Grudzielanek, who is 1 out of 3 today with a base hit. That came back in the 4th inning. Left-hander Ron Mayhay and the closer John Roush, both warming.
I would think we have to see the big man. He hasn't pitched in the series. Everybody else in that bullpen has.
Mayhay warming in case the Indians get a base runner. And then Manny Acta could pinch hit Travis Hafner or Russell Brandon. So that's why Mayhay is up loosening for Minnesota.
Well,
1-0 pitch. Down low. Jesse Crane ready with a 2-0. 3 balls and no strikes. And so one more wide one, and we will get the tying run to the plate here in the 8th. And then Ron Gardenhire could either go to his closer, or he could go lefty-lefty should the Indians pinch hit. And a called strike by Laz Diaz. Grudzielanek thought it was ball 4.
Well, you get up there, you know you're going to take. You got to get aboard and you try and duck the pitch. That's all. Try and get that walk, because if that happens, then you're going to pinch hit for Marte. You either got Branyan or Hafner coming off the bench. And we'll probably see Mayhay if Grudzielanek can get on.
3-1. That is ball 4, and now let's see what the wheels in motion spit out here. It will be Russell Branyan.
Yeah.
Who will get the pinch hit call, and now a decision for Ron Gardenhire. Do you go lefty-lefty, or do you go right to your closer for a 4-out save?
Well, you know what? That's a good point. We'll see what he wants. He's going left-hander. He wants to bring the lefty in for Branyan. And then he'll get, should he get through it, he's always got the big man after that.
So we've got a timeout here in Cleveland. Tying run to the plate with 2 out in the 8th inning. Ron Mayhay's coming on to face Russell Branyan when we come back. In the 8th inning. And the new pitcher is left-hander Ron Mayhay to face Russell Branyan. With the game on the line, suddenly, here in the 8th.
One swing of the bat away from tying this up, though. They have an opportunity.
Swung out and missed. Low, 1 ball, 1 strike. Austin Kearns, the runner at second. Mark Grudzielanek down at first. With 2 away here in the 8th inning. Russell Branyan trying to deliver here in a pinch. And a ground ball to Hudson. And the second baseman will throw out Branyan. And we'll go to the 9th, 6-3 Minnesota. 6-3, Twins on top, ninth inning. Hector Ambriz coming on to pitch for the Tribe, with Russell Brandon taking over at first base. Wilson Ramos, Nick Punto, Denard Span due up for Minnesota. Hector Ambriz coming over to the Indians in the Rule 5 draft, making his second appearance for the Tribe.
Brandon goes into first base and after pinch hitting for Marte.
Wilson Ramos 3 for 4 in his major league debut. He singled in each of his first 3 at-bats today before he flied out to right in the 7th inning. Hector Ambriz, breaking ball, first pitch strike. Oh, one hit well. Deep left center. Grady looking up, and she is off the top of the wall and into second base with a double.
What a first day.
Wilson Ramos, 4 for 5 in his major league debut.
Boy, what a great debut for this young man.
Let's pause for station identification. You're watching Cleveland Indians baseball. Matt Underwood, Rick Manning with you here at Progressive Field, where the Twins lead the Indians 6-3. And Wilson Ramos tying the American League record with 4 hits today in his major league debut.
Does that tie the record? He acts like he's a veteran out there. No big deal.
Kirby Puckett also did that as a rookie for the Twins with 4 hits in his major league debut. But this guy was hitting 179 in the 16 games he played at AAA Rochester.
He said it's no big deal.
And now Nick Punto scorches one off the glove of Cabrera. Into center field it goes. Ramos didn't pick up the ball. Now he does, and he will come home and score.
He'll pop-up slide.
He slid into third, thinking that Cabrera had fielded that cleanly, but he was able to get to his feet and scramble home to make it 7-3 Minnesota.
Yeah, he took off, and you're exactly right. With that ball, he takes a peek, and he sees Cabrera going down. He doesn't realize that he didn't catch the ball, but his third base coach helped him up. So he did the pop-up slide and just continued running, and will score his first run of the afternoon, the Twins' 7th.
The
and
18th hit
I know,
for Minnesota.
And Punto has just driven in his third run in his last 2 at-bats. Yeah, 18 hits. They've already left 13 on base.
Left him loaded twice. And hit into a double play with the bases loaded to end one inning. Other than that, Minnesota has taken care of business. About to win their 16th game on the year and stay a half game in front of Detroit, which beat the Angels 5-1 at Comerica Park to complete a 3-game sweep. Denard Span with a line drive single. 3 straight hits for the Twins off Hector Ambriz here in the 9th. Back we go to the studios for an in-game update. You got your wish, pal.
That's right. Let's go to work, Chud.
Here's Chud.
Oh, I wouldn't disappoint you guys. Rick wanted another one. Here we go. Final out. Angels, Tigers. Hideki Matsui grounds out. Justin Verlander, 7 Ks, 8 in the 3rd innings. 5-1's the final. Tigers have won 5 in a row. They sweep the Angels. They're currently tied with the Twins. Back to you.
All righty, Chud. Thank you, buddy. Tigers playing well with that sweep.
Yes, indeed. Detroit's won 5 in a row, 8 out of 11.
Yeah, they'll be a half game, or should remain a half a game behind Minnesota when this day closes out.
Detroit's now 9-3 at home.
Well, I want to look at what they're doing in the Central Division.
Another base hit. That's 4 straight in the inning.
Wow.
And the bases are loaded. And with the bases loaded and nobody out, Michael Kadire coming to the plate. As Hector Ambrose.
20 knocks this afternoon. Well, that fastball right there, he better keep it on the edges. Because there is nobody warming up, and this is your inning, young man.
Hector Ambrose was a Rule 5 pick out of the Diamondbacks organization, which means the Indians get a chance to keep him on their 25-man roster all season long, and then he belongs to them.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they have to offer him back to the Diamondbacks.
Yeah, he has to remain at the big league level. But they offer him back for, what, $25,000? Half of what they paid, or they could work a deal if they wanted to keep him. But got to watch the guy pitch.
I mean, and there are growing pains. There's another number 57 who worked out really well for Minnesota, and that's Johan Santana. He was a Rule 5 pick.
Yes, he was. What, from Houston?
Swung on and missed. I don't remember.
I think he was. I think he was from Houston.
But, I mean, he was no instant overnight success. He was a guy that worked his way into the bullpen, worked his way, through some setup roles, relief roles, and eventually into the rotation. Broke his bat. Cabrera comes home. They'll get. Whoa! He dropped the ball.
Boy.
Marson couldn't squeeze it. It was a low throw, but Marson had it, but couldn't hold on.
Nonchalanted it. You've got to just make sure you catch the ball and get one out, because you're not going to get 2 outs on that ball. It broke his bat. I don't think the ball short hopped him. Cabrera just comes in, and all you have to do is catch the ball and stay on the plate. No, that's an error on Marson. That was maybe just a little too nonchalant. So that'll be an error. Allow a run to score and keep the inning rolling.
Still nobody out. And Justin Morneau goes after the first pitch and fouls it off. These hitters, like sharks with blood in the water right now, they're aggressively going after the first pitch.
Well, look at it. You've got a free at bat. You got bases loaded. They've had 20 hits on the day, and this guy has had a couple of doubles. He hasn't had a hit in his last 3 at bats, so he sees some ribeye out there, some steaks on the bases.
In the dirt. 1-1 the count. Pitch is up high, 2 balls and a strike. This game sets a record for the Minnesota Twins in terms of total hits by both clubs in a game. It eclipses the mark that was previously held by the Indians and the Twins back in 2002. Swing and a miss.
29 hits in a 9-inning game?
Yeah, they had 25 hits, did the Indians and Twins, back on June 4th, 2002. This will go in the books for Minnesota.
Thanks, Tommy.
Tommy Bowe is on it today, folks. Popped him up. Peralta might have room, and he will. That's out number 1.
Well, here's a guy. He just can't believe it. He knows it's a free at bat, and he makes an easy out. So he'll think about that one all the way back to the dugout and then some.
Bases loaded, 1 out. And Alexi Casilla, who had an infield hit his first time up when he came on as a pinch runner in the 7th, and his first at bat came in the 8th. Now the 0-2. Back out of play. Hey, I misread that earlier that Tommy was trying to tell me. The Twins' single game record for hits came against the Indians, and it's 25. So they're 5 away from their single game record as a team, 25 hits. The combined record, that's a lot of hits. 42 hits in a game. Back in 1980 against Oakland. Breaking ball, swung on and missed. Got him to chase, 2 down. The batter will be Delman Young, who is 4 for 4 with 3 singles and a home run. 8th man to bat in the inning. Hector Ambriz has made 20 pitches. And a good off-speed delivery has Young out in front.
Yeah, what a great afternoon Young has had. Came in hitting 219. He's now hitting 265.
Back over the screen.
So it goes to show you earlier in the year what a game like a 4 for 4 can do for you. I mean, now you look up and you feel great about yourself. You go in and you're battling and, you know, you're closer to that 200 mark and guys are saying you're not hitting your own weight. Well, drop a 4 for 4 on them and the next thing you know, you're back to respectability, baby, and now you can work your way up.
The 0-2. Missed outside.
That's why I say that sometimes batting average is not so important. It's when you do get your hits. Time of game or, you know, when you have runners on base and you can move them around and drive in a big run, the average will get there. If you're a good hitter, it'll get up there.
Swung on and missed. So Hector Ambriz gets out of the jam, but not before the Twins tack on 2. They lead at 8-3. Bottom of the 9th coming up. Indians down 8-3. And John Roush, the Twins closer, coming on looking for some work. As he's on to protect a 5-run lead. Francisco Liriano, meanwhile, is in line to go 4-0 to start the year for Minnesota.
Well, he pitched another good game. Of course, a string of 23 consecutive innings stopped, but he's going to get the win this afternoon. He looked very good. Roush, the guy that has been called upon and is going to be their closer, while Joe Nathan, their great closer, had surgery. He'll be out for the whole year, so this big man has a lot riding on him. But he's been very, very good early in the year. 7 saves this year. This will be his 10th appearance.
Swung on and missed. 0-2 the count on Matt Laporta. Missed inside with it. A ball and 2 strikes. Happy birthday wishes to Macy Klein, celebrating her 8th birthday in Mogador, Ohio.
All right. Macy, happy birthday.
Hopefully it stayed dry down there. Turned out to be a perfect day here in downtown Cleveland. Cloud cover overhead, but I mean, it's been warm and dry. That's the important thing. Strike 3 called. Nailed the outside corner. 1 down here in the 9th. Matt Laporta 0 for 4 today. Our player of the game today, Francisco Liriano, on his way to a 4-0 record to start the year. A career-high 123 pitches. Struggled in the first. Struck out 5 straight Indians at one point. And pitched out of any potential jams the rest of the way. Lou Marson, you know, you were talking about having a good day and turning your batting average. Lou Marson was hitting .088 when we were in Anaheim on that last road trip.
Yeah.
And by stringing together a couple of multi-hit games, you know, he's suddenly up to .229.
You know, that's one thing, too, as a player, mentally, you know, you think you're so low that you have to get a hit every time up, and you don't. You just got to put together quality at bats game after game, and you know you'll see the progress. The confidence starts growing. You can't do it overnight. You can't do it in one at bat, and that's what I think a lot of young players have to find out. This is a marathon, baby, and you know you're not judged after the first week or 2 weeks of the season. And a lot of times you put so much pressure on yourself to get off to a great start. You bury yourself.
Marson with a ground ball up the gut. Hudson with a backhander. Throws him out, 2 away. That will bring up Asdrubal Cabrera. Cabrera off to another good start this year. He started off hot last year. The only hiccup for Cabrera last year was a stint on the disabled list. But other than that, he was rock solid. And this year, bumped up to the leadoff spot. Hasn't made a bit of difference to him.
No, because you really don't change your approach. Just because, you know, you hit differently. You're going into that batter's box. You just happen to lead the game off, and it only happens once.
Called a strike, 3-1 the count. If Cabrera gets aboard, Grady Sizemore would be next. And the count goes full. Payoff pitch, and he chops it foul. Again, the 3-2, and Cabrera pops it straight up. Nick Punto takes it, and the ball game is over. Minnesota wins the game and wins the series, taking 2 out of 3. With the victory, Minnesota is now 16-9 on the year. Indians drop to 10-14. The winner is Francisco Liriano. He's now 4-0. The loser, David Huff, drops to 1-4 on the season. 9 runs, 20 hits, 15 men left on base for Minnesota. 3 runs, 9 hits, 7 stranded for the Indians. Time now for our play of the game, brought to you by KeyBank, banking home of your Cleveland Indians.
Let's look back at the 5th inning. Austin Kearns, the hitter, gets a high breaking ball, and he just rifles it down the line. 1 run comes in. Grady trying to score, but a very good relay. Kadire to Hudson. And there it is. They get him at home plate. It was bang, bang, but you can see Sizemore. They hold on to the ball. He shows it to Laz Diaz, and that is it. That's going to be our KeyBank play of the game.
And so Minnesota holds on to win the series. 8-3 the final score today. For those of you watching here on Channel 3, stay tuned. NHL Stanley Cup playoff action between the Pittsburgh Penguins and the Montreal Canadiens comes your way next. Stay tuned for the Indians postgame show, the Conrad's Tire Express and Total Car Care postgame show. That comes your way next on Sports Time Ohio with Dave Chudowski. For Rick Manning, I'm Matt Underwood. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Twins win it 8-3 the final score.